Hi everyone. This week we're going to start working with Tableau. When you first open Tableau, you're going to land on a page that looks a bit like this. Now you may not have workbooks loaded here to quickly access if you haven't already built something in Tableau before. But what you definitely will have is this connection file. Here under Connect, you choose the file type that you're going to connect to. In this class, we'll be connecting to Microsoft Excel data. Double-click on the file you wish to connect to, and Tableau will redirect you to this landing page. This is a page in which you can connect multiple workbooks or worksheets of data together. We'll talk more about that later. What you need to be sure that you're doing right now is checking on this landing page to ensure that all of your information is correct in accordance with what type of data Tableau thinks you have. For example, here Tableau has found a column of data in that Excel workbook called State, and I can see that it lists the names of states in it. Tableau has this icon associated with this data, which means that Tableau assumes that this is geographic data. If I click on that icon, I can see the different types of data that Tableau attempts to discern. Geographic is correct. Here we have year data, and Tableau has assigned this to be a number, a whole number. Well, this isn't quite right. This is actually a date, because here we have years in time. Here we have quarter. Again, Tableau is assuming that this is string data. Now, if I want to treat this as strictly categorical data, category 1, quarter 1, category 2, quarter 2, category 3, quarter 3, category 4, quarter 4, then I can leave it a string. I can also change it to a date if I wish to break quarter down by quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4 chronologically. For now, I'll leave it a string. Here, Tableau assigns another variable to string, and this is the variable that is product, which is a column of data that in words expresses the type of product associated with each row of data. This is correct to leave it a string. Here we have sales. This is a continuous number. Tableau assumes that this is a whole number, and again, this is correct. So the only thing I needed to change here was year, and I needed to let Tableau know that it was a date in case I wanted to show a longitudinal change over time. Once I'm confident the Tableau knows the type of data I have in each column, I can click down here on Sheet 1 to begin building my workbook. Tableau has a wonderful graphic user interface for building data visualizations. All you have to do is drag and drop. For example, if I take the variable state, drag and drop it here, immediately a map is formed. And in this map, I see every location represented by my data set. Here in columns and rows, we see that Tableau has automatically generated latitude and longitude data. This is called a marks card. You'll use the marks card often to change features of your visualization. You see that Tableau has automatically added state to the mark of detail. Detail means that if I hover over one of the markers, it's going to give me the detail associated with state. So now Tableau lets me drag my mouse over each of these states and it tells me which state it is. Let's say I want to represent sales data in this map. I could take my data for sales and drag it to color. Automatically, Tableau color codes the data such that the darker the state, the higher the sales. If I don't like the blue color palette, all I need to do is click on Colors, Edit Colors, and choose a new color palette. This data set has several thousand rows. It would take Excel a long time to generate a map chart like this, but Tableau is able to do it because it uses external servers to make its calculations, rather than relying on your computer. A similarity you'll find between Tableau and Excel, though, is when you want to give your chart a name, you simply double-click on the existing name, delete what's there, and replace it with a name of your choosing. Let's start over with the new infographic. In order to get rid of data currently being represented, I just need to drag and drop it over to the left side of the screen. Let's imagine that I want to add the years and the sales data. Tableau automatically knows that a line chart is the best way to represent data over time. However, if I click here on the Show Me chart, it provides me with all of the options that Tableau can possibly create a visualization with based on the data I've input. For example, here's a tree map where it breaks down the sales data by each year using proportionally sized boxes to represent the sales value. Now, I don't actually want to do this, and I don't actually want to use a pie chart, and I don't actually want to use a box and whisker plot, but it's nice to know that these options exist. Instead, I really do want that line chart. Now, going back to a trick that we learned earlier, I'm going to use colors on the mark card. I'm going to take product, which was the different types of paper goods, and I'm going to drag it to color. Once I do that, Tableau automatically creates a legend, assigning a different color to each of the lines so that individual products can be tracked across time. This is a nice way to show how the sales change over time. However, something strange is happening here on the x-axis label. Tableau is making sure by saying year of year that we know that all these increments are broken down into year. But we know that just by looking at the fact that only years are listed. So I would want to change this before finalizing my infographic. To do that, I would double click, and then down here I could change the title to simply year. This is also where I can change the start and end points of my x-axis. I can change the tick mark so that if I wanted to display data across multiple years, I can also add minor tick marks if I'd like. Once I exit out of this menu, my axis is updated. Let's have one more data adventure. I'm going to pull year out, and Tableau has now defaulted to a stacked bar chart. See how easy that was? All I have to do is add a continuous variable to rows and assign some sort of categorical variable to product. Now, remember what we've discussed before, that you probably don't want to use a stacked bar chart when there are more than 5 categories. So this isn't a good use of a stacked bar chart, but that's how simple it was to build. Let me pull product out of here and go back to Show Me and look at what Tableau can do for me with one continuous variable. I can tell what's available because these are the options not grayed out. I have a horizontal bar chart and I have a histogram. When you have continuous variables in your data set, I strongly recommend always looking at a histogram to make sure that your data is normal. Here, our data is not really normalized, which, as you know, has implications for the types of analyses we can run. Let's say I want to look at a different histogram per sales per product. That's pretty easy to do. All I do is take product and I can drag it to either rows or columns. When I do this, Tableau automatically creates a separate histogram for each product. And which way the matrix is sliced depends purely on whether I want product in rows or columns. Personally, I prefer it in columns so that I can see more variance in the height of my histograms. Now, your marks card is something that you can use even if you're not assigning a variable to it. For example, we can change the type of mark used in our histogram. We can make a smooth continuous area plot. Now, I don't like this because it takes away the bin width and it's no longer possible for me to see exactly where those cutoff ranges are. But it's an option you have. You can also change the colors. Or, as before, if I want to simply move product over to color, then I can have a different color for each of my histograms. As a data analyst, showing histograms for this continuous data is going to bring attention to your audience to anything that is abnormal about fit. This particular data, I expect to be abnormal because the data set I'm looking at is computer generated. It doesn't represent something actually happening in nature. But if this were data for a company and I saw this much abnormality, I would be concerned because we should always see the highest peak in a histogram in the middle. They should always be sort of bell curve shapes as data regresses to the mean in nature. This would be an important point for you to bring forward. And it would be important for you to ask questions like, why is there some sort of bimodality happening with each of these products over time. Now, when you're done developing your infographic, there's one more really important thing to do, and that's save your file. Go to File and Save As. Now, I need you to remember something very important here. There are two options for saving your Tableau workbook. You want to save it as a .twbx. A .twbx is a larger file that saves a package retaining how you set up your data connections, as well as important information about your data so that anyone who receives your file can see exactly what you built. A .twb is a secure file. It cannot be opened unless somebody already has your data set and can reestablish the connections. So for this class, and for anything you do unless you're told otherwise, always save as a .twbx. I hope this introduction to Tableau has been helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out.